A very good morning, children. So let's continue learning our lesson number 3, force and pressure. In yesterday's lecture, we have learned about balance and unbalanced force. Now moving further, we are going to learn about inertia and what is pressure. So let's see what is inertia. Students, we have seen that an object changes its state of motion due to force. When we applied force on a stationary object, that means the object which is at rest, when we apply force on it, what happens? It starts moving. Then, in the absence of a force, objects exhibit a tendency to remain in the existing state of motion. Now, what it's trying to say us students, let's see, to learn inertia, to learn the concept of inertia, there is an activity. So what's the activity, students? We have to take a postcard and keep it on a glass. Can you see in the picture how it is placed on a glass? Then keep a 5 rupee coin on it. Then after placing a postcard on a glass, we have to keep a coin on it. Then afterwards, skillfully push the card. We have to push the card. What will happen, students? The coin straight away will fall in the glass. The coin straight away falls in the glass. Have you ever done this? If not, perform this, students. It is very easy. So why this coins fall down? Because the inertia of the coin maintains its state at rest. First the coin was at rest. That means its inertia of the coin was at rest position. And why it fall down, students? Because it falls into the glass due to gravity. So what is inertia, students? In the absence of a force, objects exhibit a tendency to remain in the existing state of motion. Same how the coin first was at the rest position. That was, it was in its existing position. So students, what we come to know, what is inertia? Tendency of a body to resist a change in motion or rest. Students, your coin was not in motion. What happened? When the coin was on its existing state only. When the cardboard was pulled, the coin fell into the glass because of the gravity. So, tendency of a body to resist a change in motion or rest is known as inertia. One example of this is, students, when you are on your motorcycle and suddenly you apply brake to stop. What happens? You tend to jerk forward, becoming to a complete stop. When you apply brake, you come forward. In the same way, you will jerk backwards when the vehicle begins to move. When you are stopping the vehicle, you will move forward. And once again, the vehicle comes in motion, you will move backwards automatically. So this is inertia. In the absence of a force, objects exhibit a tendency to remain in the existing state of motion. Now let's see types of inertia. The first one, inertia of the state of rest. An object in the state of rest cannot change its state of rest due to its inherent property. This property is called the inertia of the state of rest. Students, when an object is not in motion, then we say that the object is at its rest position. So, when the state of rest cannot change its state of rest due to its inherent property, so such property is called as inertia of the state of rest. Because the property is it? Because the object is at its rest position. Next one, second property, second type of inertia, inertia of motion. The inherent property of an object due to which its state of motion cannot change is called its inertia of motion. Students, For example, a revolving electric fan continues to revolve even after it is switched off. Am I correct, students? Have you all noticed when you switch off the fan, then also it continues to revolve? So, this is the inherent property of an object due to which its state of motion cannot change. When the state of motion cannot change, even it is switched off, even it is stopped, so such type is known as inertia of motion. And one more example, you have noticed, students, passengers sitting in the running bus get a jerk in the forward direction if the bus suddenly stops. First, students, we are at rest position. We are sitting normally in a bus, and as soon as when the driver stops the bus, what happens? All the passengers are jerked in forward direction. So, understood? When a revolving electric fan continues to revolve even after it is switched off. So, what we are doing? We are inheriting the property of an object due to which its state of motion cannot change. We are trying to stop the fan. First it is in motion, and on switching off the button, then also it don't exist its property, it don't stop revolving. So this is known as inertia of motion. And the third type of inertia is directional inertia. What is it? The inherent property of an object due to which the object cannot change the direction of its motion is called directional inertia. What is this, student? For example, if a vehicle is in motion along a straight line suddenly turns, the passengers sitting in it are thrown opposite to the direction of turning. So what happens? The inherent property of an object due to which the object cannot change the direction of its motion is called directional inertia. The object is taking a turn, like the bus is taking a turn, and all the passengers sitting in it are thrown opposite to the direction of turning. So this is the directional inertia, where the inherent property of an object due to which the object cannot change the direction of its motion is called directional inertia. For example, if a vehicle in motion along a straight line suddenly turns, the passengers sitting in it are thrown opposite to the direction of turning. This is because of directional inertia. Moving further, let's understand what is pressure. You must have observed the tires of two-wheelers and four-wheelers getting pressurized. The air-filling machine has a pressure indicating dial or a digital meter showing the digital reading of pressure. Yes, students, have you all seen it? When you go to the petrol pump, and besides the petrol pump, you fill the air also in the tires of your vehicle. You can see the digital meter is in the hand of that person. So the machine fills the pressure to a certain value. It checks the value, and only the machine fills the pressure in your tires of the vehicle. You are aware that a force has to be applied for filling air in the bicycle tire with the hand pump. First, the bicycle tire was filled with the air with the hand pump. So the hand pump was required much force to fill the air in the bicycle tire. By applying force, air pressure is increased, and then the air is pushed into the tire. So are force and pressure related? So students, we have learned that force is the push and pull action at it results in the change of motion and direction, where on the other hand, pressure is the physical force applied to the unit area of the surface. For understanding it better, we will move further for an activity. Take some sharp pointed nails and push them into a wooden plank by hammering on their heads. Students, first we have to take a sharp pointed nails, and then we need a wooden plank. And after that, what we have to do, we have to hammer that pointed nails in the wooden plank. So now take a nail and hold it with its head on the plank and hammer it down from the pointed end. We have to take a nail and hold it with its head on the plank and hammer it down from the pointed end. When pressing the drawing pins into a drawing board, they get into the board easily. Have you ever seen the drawing pins? When we press into the drawing board, they get into the board easily. It doesn't require any hammer to push them in it. So, by applying a force using the thumb, one can push the pins into the board. Do we use a hammer for the drawing pins on the drawing board to push the drawing pins on the drawing board? No, it's easily done by our thumb. We can push easily by applying force by the thumb. But on the contrary, while pressing ordinary pins into the board, while pressing ordinary pins with the thumb may get hurt. Instead of drawing pins, when we are using other pins, what will happen? Our thumb may get hurt. So what does this simple experiment tell? The nail easily penetrates into wood from its pointed end. From this, you will notice that when a force is applied on the head of the nail, it is easy to hammer it into the plank. So, through this activity, students, what they are trying to tell us? The less the area of the surface on which the force is applied, the greater is the effect of the force. The head of the nails were small, that is, the head of the nails are of less surface area. So when we apply force in it, we are getting the greater effect. Understood? The less the area of the surface on which the force is applied, the greater is the effect of the force. It easily got into the wooden plank. Let's understand the concept more clearly, students. What does this simple experiment tell us? The nail easily penetrates into wood from its pointed end. From this, you will notice that when a force is applied on the head of the nail, it is easy to hammer it into the plank. When we are hammering the nails from its head, it is easy to hammer it into the plank. Explanation: why is it easy, students? Because the less the area of the surface on which the force is applied, the greater is the effect of the force. Moving further, there's one more question. It is easy to cut vegetables, fruits with a sharp knife. A blunt knife does not work here. Why does this happen? Students, you all maybe have cutted the vegetables using a sharp knife. So it's easily cutted using a sharp knife. But when you are using blunt knife, it does not work. So why does this happen, students? Let's see the explanation. The effect of a given force varies inversely as the area of the surface on which the force is applied. The less the surface area, the greater is the effect of the force. The cutting edge of a sharp knife has less cross-sectional area relative to that of a blunt knife. Students, pay attention. The cutting edge of a sharp knife. The sharp knife has edge of less cross-sectional area. The area of this cross-sectional is less in sharp knife and compared to the blunt knife. So, as the area of the surface is less, what happened? More force is applied there. So, hence it is easy to cut vegetables, fruits with a sharp knife rather than with a blunt knife. For a given force, pressure is inversely proportional to the area of the surface on which the force acts. So students, what we came to know? The less the surface area, the greater is the effect of the force. So, the cutting edge of a sharp knife has less cross-sectional area. So, here the force is applied is greater. That's why it is easy to cut vegetables, fruits with a sharp knife instead of using a blunt knife, because for a given force, lesser the surface area, the effect of a force is greater. What is pressure, students? The force exerted perpendicularly on a unit area is called pressure. So, hence, a formula is derived for pressure, that is, the formula derived for pressure is equals to force upon area on which the force is applied. So, how the formula is derived, students? On which concept? Where the force exerted perpendicularly on the unit area, that gives rise to pressure. So, what's the formula for pressure? Pressure is equals to force upon, that is divided by, area on which the force is applied. So, unit of pressure. The SI unit of force is Newton. Area is measured in meter square. Therefore, the SI unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. It is known as Pascal and it is denoted by PA. In atmospheric science, the unit of pressure is bar. 1 bar is equals to 10 raised to 5 Pascal. Pressure is a scalar quantity. We have seen, students, force was a vector quantity. And what is a vector quantity? When both magnitude and directions are in same thing, then it is said as vector quantity. Now, here it is saying as pressure is a scalar quantity. So, what does scalar quantity means? A scalar quantity is a quantity that is only described by the magnitude. So, students, here only magnitude is mandatory. Only magnitude is required in pressure. That's why pressure is a scalar quantity. But in force, both were important, that is magnitude and direction. And where magnitude and direction both comes, so it is said as vector quantity. So, force is a vector quantity. And in pressure, only magnitude is of much importance. So, pressure is a scalar quantity where only magnitude comes. And what is the SI unit of pressure? It is Newton per meter square. And we have seen what is SI unit, that is International System of Unit. For pressure, it is Newton per meter square. So students, now we came to know how the formula have been derived for pressure. And the formula is pressure is equals to force upon area on which the force is applied. So let's solve an numerical on the basis of the formula of pressure. So what's the numerical? The question is, the area of the bottom of a tiffin box is 0.25 meter square and weight is 50 Newton. N stands for Newton. Calculate the pressure exerted by the box on the shelf. Students, first let us understand the question. The area, the surface area of a tiffin box is given as 0.25 meter square and the weight is 50 Newton. So, we have to calculate the pressure exerted by that tiffin box when it is kept in a shelf. So, first of all, we will write all the given things. Given is the area, which is 0.25 meter square, and the weight of the box is 50 Newton. And what we have to find? We have to find the pressure. So, solution, first we will write the formula. What's the formula to find out the pressure? It is pressure is equals to force upon area. So pressure is not given. So what is the force given here? Force is, that is the weight of the box, that is 50 Newton. So 50 Newton upon area. What is the surface area of a tiffin box given? 0.25 meters square. So pressure is equals to 50 Newton divided by 0.25 meters square. Now students, we have to solve this mathematically. We have to remove the decimal point from the number which is in denominator, that is 0.25. So what's the rule to remove the decimal point? We have to add zeros in the numerator. So after decimal there are two digits, that is 2 and 5. So for removing the decimal point from the denominator, we have to add two zeros in the numerator. So by solving this, what comes? 5000 upon 25. We have removed the decimal point. Now how to solve this, students? 25 ones are 25. We have to divide. And does 50 comes in 25 table? Yes. 25 ones are 25 and 25 twos are 50. So what remains? The two zeros remain. So the 20 comes as it is. So what's the answer? 200 upon 1. And students, any number upon 1 is the number itself. So what's our answer? That is 200 Newton per meter square. So pressure exerted by the box on the shelf is equals to 200 Newton per meter square. In today's lecture, students, we have learned about two concepts, that is inertia and pressure. And in inertia, we have seen types of inertia also. There were three types of inertia. And then we have seen what is pressure, how is the formula derived of pressure. So to get your concepts more clear, watch the video attentively. Thank you, students. Goodbye. Have a nice day.